Welcome! Today, we're going to follow an absolutely incredible journey that's happening inside you right now. A non-stop delivery service that keeps every single one of your cells alive. It's all about two systems, respiration and circulation, working together in perfect harmony.
So get this, in the time it takes for a single heartbeat, just about 0.8 seconds, an entire complex mission unfolds. We're going to follow one of those missions, starting with a single breath of air all the way to the farthest corners of your body. And this whole cycle, it repeats about 72 times every single minute you're at rest. Let's trace that path together.
Okay, so our journey kicks off at what you can think of as the body's air cargo terminal, your lungs. This is the entry point where the most essential package for life, oxygen, gets brought into the body from the outside world.
You know, breathing feels automatic, but it's a really active mechanical process. When you breathe in, that's inspiration, your diaphragm actually contracts and pulls down, and your ribcage moves up and out. This makes more space, creating a kind of vacuum that sucks air right into your lungs. Then, breathing out, or expiration, is usually more relaxed. The muscles just let go, the space gets smaller, and the air is pushed out. It's a simple but really powerful pump.
Okay, so the air is in. Now what? How does that oxygen actually get from your lungs into your bloodstream? Well, this is where the real magic happens. It's called gas exchange, and it's a critical, super delicate process that's all happening on a microscopic scale. So, let's meet the stars of the show, the alveoli. These are the tiny little loading docks in your lungs. You've got hundreds of millions of them. And get this, it's a wild fact. If you could flatten all of them out, their total surface area would be about the size of a tennis court. All that space is the key to getting oxygen into your blood super fast and efficiently. And what you're seeing here is just how elegant this whole exchange is. It's all based on a simple principle called diffusion. Oxygen just naturally moves from the alveoli, where there's a lot of it, into your blood, where there isn't. And at the exact same time, the waste product, carbon dioxide, moves the other way, from your blood into your lungs to be breathed out. It's this perfectly balanced, instant trade that's happening with every single breath.
Now, here is something that might surprise you. A whopping 97% of the oxygen that gets into your blood doesn't just, float around freely. To get where it needs to go, it has to be captured. It's immediately grabbed by a specialized protein, kind of like a molecular taxi, that lives inside your red blood cells.
And that's where hemoglobin comes in. It's basically the specialized cargo container on our red blood cell delivery truck. It's perfectly built to snatch up oxygen molecules in the lungs and, just as important, to let them go when it gets to the tissues that are desperate for them.
All right, cargo loaded. Our little red blood cell is now hitting the road, entering the body's massive network of superhighways, the circulatory system. This is the incredible transport network that connects the lungs to literally every other part of your body.
You know, this table is a perfect example of a core principle in biology. Structure dictates function. Arteries have to carry blood that's being blasted out of the heart at high pressure, so they need thick, muscular walls to handle that force. Veins, on the other hand, are just carrying blood back to the heart under way lower pressure, so their walls can be thinner. It's just a beautiful piece of efficient design. And of course, at the very center of this whole superhighway system is the engine that never stops, the relentless, powerful pump that drives everything, your heart. It keeps the blood moving 24/7.
So for an average adult just sitting there, the heart's beating about 72 times a minute. And each one of those beats, that's a highly coordinated event we call the cardiac cycle. Let's break down what's actually happening in that tiny slice of time.
The whole thing is over in less than a second. It's incredible. First, for just a tenth of a second, the top chambers, the atria, give a quick squeeze to push blood down into the ventricles. Then, the powerful ventricles contract for a bit longer to pump that blood out to the lungs and body. But what's really key here is that for half the cycle, a whole 0.4 seconds, all the chambers are relaxed. That's its rest period, letting it fill up for the next big push. That balance is what lets it work for a lifetime.
So what's conducting this perfect orchestra? Well, it's the heart's own internal electrical system. This is what makes the heart autorhythmic. It actually generates its own beat. The SA node, the heart's natural pacemaker, shoots out an electrical signal that travels through the heart in this very specific pattern. That's what causes the chambers to contract in perfect sequence, all without you ever having to think about it.
So how does our body manage all this so efficiently? Well, it's thanks to a brilliant design called double circulation. See, instead of one big, long loop, our blood actually passes through the heart twice for every full circuit of the body, using two totally separate loops that meet right in the middle.
Let's break down these two circuits. First, you've got the pulmonary circuit. That's a short little loop where the right side of the heart pumps blood to the lungs to get oxygenated, and then it comes right back to the heart. Then that fresh, oxygen-rich blood gets pumped by the left side of the heart into the systemic circuit. That's the big, high-pressure loop that delivers oxygen to every other cell in your body. Keeping them separate is the key to being so efficient.
Okay, let's talk numbers for a second. That number right there, 5,040 milliliters per minute, that's the cardiac output for an average adult. To put that in perspective, that means your heart pumps over 5 liters of blood, that's pretty much all the blood in your entire body, around your system every single minute you're at rest. It is a staggering amount of work.
Okay, so after that long journey from the heart, our little red blood cell is finally arrived at its destination, a tiny capillary parked right next to a muscle cell that is desperate for some oxygen so it can do its job.
And this is it, the final handoff. It's basically the mirror image of what we saw back in the lungs. The hemoglobin lets go of its oxygen, which diffuses into the cell. And in return, the cell gives up its waste, carbon dioxide, which gets picked up by the blood for the long trip back to the heart and lungs. Mission accomplished.
But wait, we're not quite done. There's one more system we got to talk about, the cleanup crew. See, as blood flows through all those tiny capillaries, a little bit of the plasma leaks out into the tissues. The lymphatic system is like the body's drainage network. It collects all that extra fluid, filters it to check for any bad guys, and then safely returns it to the bloodstream. It's absolutely essential for keeping everything in balance.
You know, this quote really just says it all, doesn't it? It's the perfect summary of this elegant partnership we've been exploring. One system handles the pickup from the outside world, and the other provides the high-speed delivery network to get the goods to trillions of individual customers, your cells.
Okay, so I want to leave you with one final thought. After seeing how automatic this whole thing is, have you ever wondered why it's so hard to hold your breath? Well, the answer is pretty fascinating. Your urgent need to breathe isn't actually triggered by a lack of oxygen. It's triggered by the buildup of carbon dioxide. Your brain has these special sensors that are incredibly sensitive to CO2 levels in your blood. As soon as those levels start to rise, your brain's respiratory center sends an overwhelming, irresistible command to your muscles, forcing you to take a breath. It's your body's ultimate failsafe, making absolutely sure this incredible delivery service never, ever stops.